very sad every time, and I message him after every game, and I say, well, at least I'm helping you with your seeding. I want to shout out when you win this tournament. He never gives me a shout out, but I think it's not really necessary to say how good these guys are. They are absolutely at the top of their game, and I think it's going to be difficult for anyone in this competition to take them out.
I think it's going to be difficult for them to take each other out as well. I think it's going to take quite a bit of dampening with these two squads. We're going to be jumping down, though, to Nagrand Arena. The teams are already ready to go. We got Chan on the Warlock. We got Wealthy Man on the Mage. And on the side of Method Orange, we're actually going to have Mez on the Warrior. And we are going to have Sam on the Mage. Let's see what they're able to do. Oh, wow. They got... I have not seen that mount in a while.
Yeah. That's really cool.
No turtles are going to be making it to the water today.
Yeah. These are some beefed up crowds.
Ooh, look at them all in sync.
Oh.
Okay, you know they definitely had enough time to
they're gonna hide
practice.
from Cloud9.
They definitely had a lot of time to practice if they made a synchronized dance. Like, and you know that they're feeling pretty good.
Every time I watch their streams, Sidu's just complaining that Samayam isn't there to practice arena, but instead they're practicing this synchronized dance.
Sam's always asleep, but he's
that.
been dreaming of a synchronized dance.
All right, let's see how this one goes. I mean, for Method Orange, they've told me that they kind of struggle against Mage Lock in general. And I mean, obviously, healing stat, you're saying Cloud9's Mage Lock is kind of on a different level, so we'll see what they can get done in this matchup. This composition is definitely capable of winning. Looks like they're going to be going after Wealthy Man early on in the match, really trying to punish him. Song of Chi-Ji on Cubsy. Wealthy Man with a nice temporal shield bounces himself back to full HP. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these mages' builds to see what both of them are running, just to see what kind of strategies we can really expect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see it. I'm really happy that Method Orange is playing this composition, because I think this is one of the things with Method Orange. They have the compositions that Wildcard Gaming, who obviously have a ton of success in Europe, have. The Cleaves, but also some of these mage comps like Samayan, one of the best mages, if not the best, in North America. Wealthy Man, probably one of the top contenders for that title, so this is fun to see them go at it mage v mage. They've put the time into this composition that they feel confident blinding it into Cloud9, and if they really are good enough with Mez on the Warrior and at the synergy of this comp, I could see this being something that would actually be hugely beneficial to them, not only just in this matchup, but also against some of the other Cleaves in the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, Wealthy Man's going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Their main goal in this game is going to be trying to just limit any greater power blast Wealthy Man can get off. Big damage. Cubsy gets sniped with the counter spell. Luckily for him, he can play catch-up with that life cocoon and keep Wealthy Man alive. Now it's Samayam who's under fire. Cubsy actually pushing forward, trying to get his cauterize, just rolling in with the way of the crane, or sorry, with the rising sun kicks, with the damage. Samayam snipes him with a polymorph, and now it's Wealthy Man that's going to be in a little bit of trouble right now. Still getting low. Cubsy caught into a leg sweep. Good crowd control so far for Method Orange, but Wealthy Man just is able to kind of shrug it off. Both these mages are playing an extremely high versatility build, similar to what we saw Maro run in Europe, where they're even just playing Heart of Darkness instead of Blaster Master for maximum versatility, maximum survivability. And I mean, Cloud9, they've been playing the style where basically they just try to live as long as they can, then in dampening, find victory. But Method Orange is saying, no way, they're trying to push the pace and take Wealthy Man down.
And they're doing a great job, honestly. Method Orange, I would say, looking at these first few minutes of the game, have been the leading team. They've certainly had the most pressure. They've forced out life kick-ins. We're going to have to see how it does go into dampening, of course, because Mage Warlock, we actually just saw it in Game 7 in Europe. The Warrior can definitely die the deeper dampening goes if they can survive that long. But so far, the pressure from Method Orange has been exactly where it needs to be, and I'm happy to see Sidu playing so aggressively on the Monk as well. I think it's very easy to just kind of sit back in this matchup. He's playing the Song of Chi-Ji, he's getting in their face, being annoying to Cubsy, and really asserting himself over the enemy Windwalker, Mistweaver Monk, which is exactly what they need to actually win this game.
Ooh, that's very unfortunate. Samayam, his cauterize did proc, so a bit of a misplay there by Method Orange. They had the cooldowns to prevent it, but Wealthy Man at the same time, he's on fire with his cauterize. Both mages no longer have cheat death for around 5 minutes. And there's a lot of damage going in. Samayam pushing in. He's going to compromise a bit of his survivability, but they've been able to pressure down Wealthy Man quite a bit so far, and it's not looking too bad for Method Orange. But both mages with no cheat death, you have to be a little bit scared. Vitality Conduit coming in from Sea-Doo. That will keep Sam I Am alive and bounce his health straight up to full. Sea-Doo pushing in, portaling on top of Cubsy. Cubsy immediately crosses the map. And I mean, for Sea-Doo, his main goal is to run on top of Cubsy, and Cubsy's main goal is to get away from Sea-Doo, as far away as possible. Doesn't want the threat of that Chi-G. Just allow Wealthy Man and Chanimal to kind of get the crowd control, and Cubsy just has to keep them alive as long as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of different to how Cubsy was often playing in the Druid when he played Mage Lock. He was always kind of getting those restells, playing super aggressively. Now on the Monk, his job is to just play defensively here, keep them alive until those deep dampening points where they can find the kill on Samayam or Mez. So different game here, but still the same high-level Cubsy gameplay that we've come to expect from Cloud9. They do get him in a polymorph here though, so a bit of trouble. We see the Temporal Shield, Fear to follow. They could actually look for a swap on Cubsy at some point if they wanted to, but it looks like that's not the way they're going right now. Instead, just favoring this crowd control chain. Combustion coming out from Wealthy Man, immediately kleptomaniaed by Sam I Am, very nicely played. But Mez still taking a fair bit of damage in the disarm, unable to get anything going really in the situation as both teams just trade blow for blow, but ultimately no major cooldowns exchanged.
Nope, outside of that Cauterized, really no one has used too much in the match. Combustion coming in from Sam I Am, trying to get the damage rolling onto Wealthy Man. Dampening has just kicked in. We're at about 2% dampening right now. Full leg sweep on Cubsy. Sam I Am getting low. Has to be careful. Without that cheat death, he could go down at any moment if Chanimal can land a big Chaos Bolt on him, or Wealthy Man can get that greater Power Blast. I mean, luckily for Sam I Am, Mez is just all over Wealthy Man, catching him in Storm Bolts and Pummels and really slowing down that damage as much as possible. But as we've seen in the past, I mean, later on in the game, Mage Lock, they just do so much damage to the enemy team. It's kind of unavoidable as well. And I think as dampening gets higher and higher, we might see targeting swaps. I mean, maybe Wealthy Man and Channel, they start going after Mez a little bit more. And maybe Mez and Sam, as dampening gets higher and higher, they opt to change to that Destruction Warlock and actually really try to punish him in this match.
Yeah, that was one thing I was curious about, because they've been going after Wealthy Man this whole opener, and I mean, Fire Mage super scary, right? You've got things like the G-Pie. Yeah, he is playing the G-Pie, presumably, right?
Yeah.
I didn't actually check. But yeah, so he does have the G-Pie, and that means it's hard to leave him alone, but the Destro, you know, as the dampening gets higher and higher, he's definitely going to be an easy kill for the Warrior. That's one of the reasons that we think Warrior could be still an upset factor in this tournament. America's #1 and #2 teams so far for 2020 AWC, battling it out in the Grand Arena, has been a fairly even affair so far, but I do think that Chanimal potentially could be someone they could get a kill on. They're still after Wealthy Man right now, but he has a lot of tools to get away. Vitality Conduit once again, and he will be just fine.
Yeah, Sea-Doo gets caught into a fear, now into a polymorph. Uh-oh, Mez could be in some trouble. Has to activate the Die by the Sword, and that is the risk. When Sea-Doo tries to cross the map, if he gets caught into a Frost Nova, polymorph fear, it is an absolute disaster. Sea-Doo's still committed to pushing forward. Gets the Paralyze on Cubsy, but Mez is low. Needs to make sure he doesn't throw away the game. Vitality Conduit lands. That should be enough to keep Mez alive, but they weren't able to get the additional crowd control on Cubsy. They got the Life Cocoon, which is big, but Cloud9 appears to have most of the pressure in this matchup so far.
Yeah, I mean, definitely they've had the closest opportunities to get the kill. Both teams have traded Cauterized, but it's coming back up within the next minute. Mez's Die by the Sword being down, with dampening already starting to stack up, is definitely something I'm watching out for on the side of Method Orange. They need to be careful. Mez as well. I think it's fair to put the kind of focal point on him as analysts right now. This is a class we haven't really seen him play too much in the competitive scene, although we know that Warrior is something he's been putting a lot of time to on live ladders for practice. He really needs to be up to the level, because I mean, when Wildcard Gaming do well as this comp, it's Blizzo, right? Like no one else is doing this. It's not a meta composition. It's something that one or two teams have maybe managed to execute. So Mez is putting up a huge statement here, saying that he can play this to the same level, and so far it's been looking good. But this is a big swap onto Sea-Doo, gets caught out, uses the Transcendence, and will escape with his life.
He actually used Vitality Conduit on himself as well. It didn't get any value out of it, so had to kind of overlap there for Sea-Doo. But he gets feared on his Thunder Focus T as well, and Mez could be in some trouble. There's really no cooldowns to keep Mez alive. Mez has to be careful. He has the Spell Reflect as well as the Commanding Shell, or Sea-Doo getting interrupted into a triple DR Sheep. A bit of a misplay there by Wealthy Man, unfortunately. mistiming that polymorph that's going to free Sea-Doo from the crowd control, and he's going to feel confident to push in. Paralyze on Cubsy into the Song of Chi-Ji, and a potential leg sweep, but no channel there to back him up, disrupting the crowd control chain. Now Wealthy Man should be fine. Mez caught into a stun. This is the combustion from Wealthy Man. Samayam tries to rip it off, but Mez is just in so much trouble. The polymorph onto Sea-Doo, rallying Karai coming in from Mez at the last moment in order to stay alive, and now with Vitality Conduit, he's going to be feeling invulnerable for at least a little while, even at 26% dampening, but the pressure is just not over yet. Cloud9 still pushing forward with crowd control.
I'll tell you what, playing as Chanimal is just so annoying. Like, look at him just standing in the middle of the map, controlling the entire game, denying follow-up crowd controls, fear after fear after fear, even fears onto Mez, a warrior that's traditionally one of the classes that's struggling, but still Wealthy Man taking a bit of damage here. He's actually in a fair bit of trouble. Like, Cocoon just about comes out before that Cauterize is reapplied. Both mages have that cheat def ability once again, so we're going to have to see that procs before any of them will be falling over in this game. 30% healing reduction on both sides. Now we're starting to get into the real meat of this game. Cubsy a bit lower on mana right now. He's been having to contend with Mortal Strike effect from Mez and just the raw pumping damage of an Arms Warrior with good uptime. So certainly Mez, there's one thing you won't criticize about him is going to be his PV rotation and his damage, because he really is one of the best at that no matter what class you put him on.
Yep. I think that's one thing Method Orange really values is just really that maximum output. Mez is doing a good job. There has been good pressure onto Wealthy Man as Sea-Doo pushes forward, gets the paralyze on Cubsy. Uh-oh, Wealthy Man could be in some trouble here. He does deflect. Nice job by Wealthy Man, getting over there with the Dragon's Breath, slowing down the Song of Chi-Ji, but with a leg sweep, Sea-Doo eventually does get the crowd control. No, Wealthy Man once again backs him up. Nicely done. And now it's Mez. They're turning around the pressure. Light Cocoon coming in from Sea-Doo to keep Mez alive, but that's such a close call, and I mean, really big props for Wealthy Man. Shut down Sea-Doo with the Dragon's Breath, then with a counterspell, and reverse the pressure onto Mez. Nice job there by Cloud9.
Yeah, so that was such a nice play there coming in from Wealthy Man. It's really difficult in those kind of, you have to be very precise here to maximize time the blink and then get the Dragon's Breath. It's one of those things where I'm pretty sure if I was on the mage, I would have ended up blinking the wrong way or Dragon's Breath in the wrong way, or something would have gone wrong. Either way, that's why he's on Cloud9 and Magic Stad is not. You see the Dragon's Breath coming in, the Polymorph, treat crowd control on both sides, but Samayam is the one certainly behind. I think the War Banner was out of range there by Mez, so small mistake is going to ensure that Sea-Doo sits through, but there's no follow-up crowd control. They're able to deny it. Now Wealthy Man caught up in a Stormbolt, Life Cocoon. Still, so many cooldowns. It looks like Cubsy actually got a drink, which I didn't catch, but his mana is much better than Sea-Doo's now, and Sea-Doo is really starting to struggle. This is what I was concerned about for the Warrior. If you don't get the kill before this kind of high dampening point, you need to have high pressure, otherwise you are just going to struggle to keep your team topped off. You have less self-healing, but now they're finding pressure once again. Trinket from Cubsy is leg sweep by Sea-Doo. Beautiful plays as they look to push forward, try get the ice block from Wealthy Man. Even if they don't get it here, which it looks like they won't, they do get the Trinket from Cubsy. A big win there for Method Orange.
Yep, definitely getting that trinket out of the way. Very important. Mez under fire once again. If we look at mana, Cubsy does have an advantage, 43% dampening. Things are getting out of control here for both of these teams soon. I mean, they're both topped off and stabilized, but I mean, it can be really hard to recover in these situations. Wealthy Man still just trying to get off those greater power blasts over and over and over. And I mean, there's got to be fatigue coming in from Samayam and Mez just trying to stop those greater power blasts. Eventually, Wealthy Man will sneak them through. Big damage on Samayam, but a polymorph onto Cubsy. Wealthy Man could be in a little trouble right now. They're trying to counter-aggress. Dark Soul coming in from Chanimal. Look out for Chanimal. Can he get big damage? Beautiful, intimidating shout coming in from Mez, just trying to slow it down. Method Orange realized they were in a bit of trouble there, so that intimidating shout from Mez just to slow down that Dark Soul. Now Polymorph spam's coming in. Once Dark Soul fades, I think Method Orange is going to be a lot more comfortable pushing in, but they're just not getting topped off. Sea-Doo just doesn't have the heals. Life Cocoon on Mez. I think Mez, Samayam, and Sea-Doo realize they need to push the pace. They need to keep doing damage. Otherwise, they'll eventually just get rolled over. So, although this is such a scary moment for Method Orange, you have to commend them for really just going all in.
Yeah, there's a TikTok that kind of works like this. Whilst one person's in a super hectic place, Sea-Doo barely struggling to keep people alive, can't get any healing out. You're Cubsy in like a wonderland right now. He was just sipping, taking a drink, you know, mid-afternoon tea. Absolutely chilling on the other side in his shades on the back line for Cloud9. He's seen this before. He's seen the high pressure that this team can put out at 50% dampening. Nice war banner from Mez, does deny the full duration of that polymorph, but there's a fear to follow up. Of course there is. It's Chanimal, and he's pressed the unending resolve. He's doing so much damage with the Chaos Bolts right now. A Refear, still no life cocoon for 4 seconds. Are they going to be able to squeak it in? Die by the sword comes in. It's a full counter spell. Does this crowd control ever end onto Sea-Doo? It looks like he might be able to get away with it. The life cocoon's available. He's not trading it out. Instead, Vitality Conduit, and they will survive.
Now we are only at 55% dampening at this point. Double coil coming in from Samayam, or from Chanimal onto Samayam and Mez. Now a fear on Sea-Doo. Mez could still be in some trouble. He has the Spell Reflect, but he's grapple weapon right now. Getting lower, Life Cocoon does finally land from Sea-Doo, but I mean, look at Cubsy's mana. He's in such a good spot. Sea-Doo pushing forward, looking for the leg sweep. Good control coming in from Samayam. Can he get the Ring of Frost? Unfortunately, does not. He gets counterspelled by Wealthy Man. Wealthy Man doing a good job playing defense, slowing down the crowd control, now going after Mez in a leg sweep. Sea-Doo with the Vitality Conduit, but there's not too much left after that. I mean, Vitality Conduit's gone, Life Cocoon's gone, we're at 60% dampening, Mez is low, Sea-Doo's not topped off, and he's got to be feeling really scared to push forward. This is the Dark Soul from Chanimal once again. Wealthy Man getting bursted down as Samayam interrupts him and pops a combustion, really trying to push him over, but Vitality Conduit from Cubsy shuts that down. Sea-Doo still, he's got a little bit of mana. Can he keep his team alive? I mean, at this point, do you think that they should just be going after Chanimal instead of Wealthy Man?
I mean, I'm not really sure who they should be going after as we see huge damage coming in, forcing the Ice Block, but I think Sea-Doo just kind of has to go across the map. Even at these scary situations, he has to go and get the Crowd Control on Cubsy, because if they don't have Crowd Control on Cubsy, he has more mana. He's simply going to easily heal through this, and they need to find it. So now he's actually going for it. This is the play we wanted to see from Sea-Doo. Is it going to be enough to get the kill? Wealthy Man is in trouble, but so is Sea-Doo. Fortifying Blue comes through. Samayam's low, Sea-Doo's low, but they did go for the aggressive play, and it seems to be working out. They burst right through the Life Cocoon. If they're able to turn this around, it would be an absolute miracle. 65% healing reduction, and that's a full counterspell over onto Cubsy. They're really going all in for this play. Are they going to be able to find it? It looks like Vitality Conduit and a Chaos Bolt straight to the face, and Chanimal will be able to take the kill for Cloud9 as they take game one. But a very interesting game from Method Orange, very deep dampening. Ultimately, Cloud9 victors.
Yeah, definitely a lot to talk about in this one, making it all the way to 67% dampening. Zico, when did Cloud9 really start to pull ahead in your mind?
In my mind, it's got to be that moment when Chanimal activated his Unending Resolve, lobbed out a couple of Chaos Bolts onto Mez. Mez got around the pillar and survived. Everyone on Method Orange was full HP. Wealthy Man had Ice Block and Cauterize. Chanimal had no Trinket and no Unending Resolve, and Method Orange still went after Wealthy Man. I think that's when Cloud9 pulled ahead.
Okay, yeah, let's break down the matchup just a little bit more now that Cloud9 does lead by 1 in the series. Anything else that was really important to you, Zico?
I feel like they played like a pretty solid game. I like what Sea-Doo was doing, pushing in, going for the crowd control onto the enemy healer. I liked in general like how they were playing the matchup. They stayed alive for a long time. They had, decent amount of pressure. I just think they went on the wrong target. I think you go Fire Mage, then when you hit dampening, you go Destrolog. That's what we saw a lot of these teams do, like Wild Card, and this is the recipe for success.
Do you think that we're going to be seeing any switches potentially here, Healing Step, once we actually do get into the draft for game number 2?
Well, I think the most important thing, of course, is no matter which composition they do lock in here, they need to make sure they're keeping those crab mounts. The start of the game was beautiful. Fantastic stuff from Method Orange. If they keep that synergy up, I'm certainly rooting for them. But, I mean, in all seriousness, honestly, this has been the bane for Method Orange for how long now? Like a year or something? I'm really... a year. It could be more than a year, yeah. It's been so long. I am really happy that they've picked up this Warrior Mage. I do think it's something worth pursuing. I mean, any game that goes to 65% dampening, you've got a chance of winning, right? And they did find pressure. It's just difficult. Like, Cloud9 is such a brick wall. They're so good at this composition. They've been playing it at a world-class level for such a long time. And Cubsy, I mean, we talked about him. I think one of the big criticisms we had of him for not being the contender for best healer, and some people even said he was that he was only playing Druid the whole of last year. Well, he swaps over to the Mistweaver and he looks as good as any other, right? So Clearly no multi-classing woes. I think for Method Orange, I don't think any of their cleaves are going to be good into this. I think they just have to stick with it and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, we can't forget that the grand finals of Europe, the final game, came down to Wildcard Gaming losing to Mage Lock Monk.
Yep.
So even Wildcard Gaming playing Warrior Mage Mistweaver, they lost even quicker to Method Black running that that Mage Lock Monk. So it's obviously a good composition. It's a decent matchup for the Mage Lock, it appears. But I still feel like the Warrior Mage definitely has a chance to win. But I just can't believe the level of dampening we're getting to in these games. It really is difficult for them to sort of push them over. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Zico, I'm pretty sure we're expecting to get this late into dampening pretty much throughout the entirety of the series. Am I correct?
Yeah. If we see this, well, actually, no matter what comp we see from Method Orange, as long as Cloud9 runs Mage Lock, I think we are going to go, into the 40, 50, 60% at least. And I mean, that's kind of the nature of what they're doing, right? They're going full tank trinkets, they're going full Versa stacking, they're playing, very durable specs, and on a large map, that's what happens.
What's the record for the year right now? What's the highest that we've gotten to this weekend?
72%.
Yeah, 72, yeah.
Right, I think we might break the record.
And that was against C9, right?
Yeah.
Rudimentary.
We had a good 70% one today, but it was a cross kill. Does that count? One of the method games was 70 plus. I don't remember what it got to.
I think when it goes to 2v2, it no longer counts. That's okay. Personally.
That's
is that like the threshold? As soon as one
I think we're setting
dies,
that up
that's
right
where
now.
the dampening was.
Yeah, I think so. Right?
That's fine.
I think we agree on that.
I like that.
Okay, cool.
So it is law.
What I do think they should do, just watching these games, it feels like going after Wealthy Man is really difficult. I think you do have to go on the Fire Mage to slow him down. But I think when Method Orange, they have their big crowd control change, like they have Intimidating Shout, and Sidu, has all his crowd control, the Paralyze, the Leg Sweep, the Song of Chi-Ji. I really want to see them make swaps on Chanimal with Combust. I actually think they can punish him quite a bit. It's not as easy for Chanimal to just completely avoid damage by using Shimmer to get away. And I mean, Wealthy Man is building his character like a tank. He's using everything he can for versatility, giving up damage, and even his Azurite traits for more versatility. So he's not an easy target to take down. Of course, he has that immunity. But I just think when you're at 50, 60% dampening, that's when you can overwhelm a Destruction Warlock, and all it takes is one good setup, one good crowd control chain where you can actually put the Warlock away. So I think I want to see Method Orange try to just switch up their targeting. Not completely, but I think they should take advantage of swapping on Chanimal.
Yeah, I want to talk about the mage builds just a little bit more. I feel like it's been a hot topic between mostly you and Zico, even during the breaks. Zico, what have you thought of the mage builds so far?
I think both mages are running what they should be running for the most part. I mean, there's obviously, some things that kind of come down to personal preference here. But overall, I think they're both going to be, tank targets in this matchup, and stacking Versa is definitely the right line of play. And I think you have some freedom in terms of what essence you want to run and what trinkets you want to run. But in terms of corruption, I don't want to see anything other than Versa stack, because nothing is going to give you as high value as that. And I gotta say, like, the way you play this matchup is you go on a mage, you shut him down until dampening, and then in dampening, you just tunnel Chanimal when you have Spell Reflect and Stormbolt and breakers essentially and disruption for Wealthy Man. You stay in. When you don't have it, you go behind the pillar and then you go out again. Like, I feel like the warrior pressure is really starting to kick in once you get to like 30% dampening and safely go after the Warlock, as long as you know when to run.
It's funny because when you're talking about it right now, I didn't think the value of versatility, like amp, and running as much versatility amp as possible on your gear as your corruption and utilizing your full budget to do that could have gone up in value more from when we started the tournament, but somehow I feel like it has. It's just the play for most scenarios.
There's a person who's won BlizzCon, I think more than anyone else, Swapsy. He said his main strategy in this game is do damage and don't die. And versatility helps you do damage and not die. So a lot of these teams are trying to implement that strategy right now, and that's what we've seen a lot in this weekend is just try to gear as defensively as you can and try to just outlive your opponents, out damage them, and then eventually score a kill.
Why not just have both if you can get both? It is
It's two for the price of one.
Yeah, it's you actually were one of the people who said it a little bit earlier on. You know, when you talk about versatility, a lot of the time you're just like, oh yeah, you take versatility to survive, and you're like, well, it's also giving you damage. It's
a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's really easy to look at those gushing numbers because you don't have to throw it in the sim at all. You literally just look at details after you're done in the arena, and then you go, okay, wow, that was good. That was good. I didn't even have to push a button. Versatility is still giving you quite a huge chunk of damage, and it is helping you live. Definitely going to be important, but hey, we have the compositions now for this game on Hook Point. Zico, any final words before we jump into the action?
No, I think, like, gameplay-wise, we saw a comp swap here. We see Windwalker DK on a smaller map. I mean, this looks like more Method Orange comfort, and I think it's kind of alluding to the strategy here that Method Orange wants to run. When it's their turn to counter, they're going to go to a small map, play their melee cleave, try to win that way. When they are blind locking, they're going to play Mage Warrior. I think Method Orange, they have they're smart, they're super smart players, you know, they're good at theory crafting. They go into a matchup knowing if we fight this is what we do. In the blind, this is what we want to do. Like, they have clear plans. For me, it's just a little bit on the execution last game. I feel like it's not even like the CC execution, like the way they did their setups even was good. I think they just did them on the wrong target. So I think for this match, they just need to play the Method Orange strat. And then in the next match, if they win this one, they need to kind of just do a few adjustments that we talked about.
Okay. Very important to keep in mind now with these tweaks. Ven, do you think that is going to be the pace of this series now, what Zico just outlined?
I mean, I just think for Method Orange, with the composition that they're running now, they're going to have to make sure that basically they sit on one target to completely lock them down. I think what we're going to see in this matchup is Mez and Trill just trying to sit on channel as much as possible, and we're going to see some Dark Simulacrum. So basically Mez, what he's going to try to do is make Greater Power Blast do work for him. So he's going to be taking Greater Power Blast from Wealthy Man if he can. Wealthy Man's going to have to be very careful, and if he can steal that spell, you have, you know, a 35% damage attack you can use as the Windwalker DK to try to push him over. But I think they're just going to have Sea-Doo put out a lot of healing to survive that mage damage for a really long time. And on the smaller map, potentially even just stop drinks. And hopefully for them, the Windwalker Death Knight pressure is enough. But I mean, we've seen this match play out quite a bit, and normally the mage Warlock comes out ahead.
Healing said, like, what is it that you're looking at here to actually change that tide and see Method Orange come out on top after you hear Venric, you break it down like that?
I think, I mean, this is a matchup that it's comfort for Method Orange, and whenever someone of this caliber is playing their comfort matchup, you always think there's going to be a chance, you know, they'll identify something, Trill on the Windwalker, find some one-shot opportunity on someone. Outside of that, maybe Spites is something that we could consider over onto Chanimal. I mean, we saw the double monk combination from Cerulean playing it. That was with Mage, not Death Knight, but I don't see why you couldn't do it if Chanimal wasn't running Portal, that is. So I think there's a few opportunities, but I mean, overall, I agree that I think there's a reason if Method Orange was confident in this matchup, they wouldn't be trying alt comps with like Mage Warrior, right? They would be just running this because it's one of their main pocket picks. So I'm not super confident for them, but I mean, I've seen crazier things. I've seen crazier things today, to be honest. So Method Orange could definitely
I think you pointed out a very good thing, right? It's basically by seeing something else, it meant that they weren't confident in this, and then going back to it's like, all right, that didn't work. We should probably go back to something that we are a little bit comfortable on, which can make you feel a little bit nervous headed into Hook Point. They are using their stoppage time up just a little bit here on Method Orange. I think they really want to talk through what they need to be able to do. You don't have very much stoppage time to use, and using it in this series is obviously something that's going to be important. If you do manage to come out on top here, you know that you've at least made it to that grand final, and that's going to be a big bump, a guaranteed bump in points for the entire year, Healing Stat.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only 4 competitions to qualify through to the circuit, so I think for Method Orange, since they didn't make it through to BlizzCon last year especially, they're going to be really happy with this performance. I mean, a top 3 already is a strong showing. I know they're one of those teams that there were some roster hiccups for them earlier in the year. I think Trill was off the roster for a little bit, then he re-entered. It was fairly public, so they definitely haven't been a team in super high morales, I think, after their performance last year. So something like this is a great opportunity for them to bounce back. You can tell they've been working at it with their theory crafting, with their warrior mage. They're really back and here to game, which is fantastic for the squad, fantastic for their fans. Cloud9, I think it's fair to say they're the last boss in NA and have been for a while. If Method Orange takes this series, then you start asking that question: are they the best team in NA? Going through to the circuit, going through to the finals. There's a lot of arena before then, but I mean, it would be a great first start.
Yeah, I think that Method, you have to point out that roller coaster, right? You win BlizzCon, and then all of a sudden you're in kind of these weird doldrums, the horse latitudes, not necessarily complacent, but just trying to figure out what you're going to do, especially after, I remember you did the interview on the main stage, and it was like, I'll play with this team as long as this team wants to play, and then it was all of a sudden like, wait, is this team actually going to play? And it seems like they're starting to have that resurgence. This would be a huge victory for them. We are ready to jump down to Hook Point for the second game of this series. Is Cloud9 going to find themselves on match point, or is Method going to be able to regain their footing in this series?
I mean, so far, Cloud9 has looked pretty much unstoppable in this tournament so far. Method Orange, they're going to have to come up with something. Is it going to be the Spikes? Is it going to be the Dark Simulacrum on the Greater Pyroblast? I mean, only time will tell, but Cloud9, they've been looking absolutely phenomenal with this Mage Warlock. They've been running this Mage Warlock for quite some time, seeing great success with it in battle for Azeroth, and it's just such a scary team to go against. I mean, Method Orange, they take them to, 65% dampening in the last game. It's got to be a little bit disheartening for them, but here they are on the small map with the cleave setup. Let's see what they can get done.
Yeah, I love how they've swapped. Like, we had Method Orange on the crabs last time, and now Cloud9 on those giant frogs. So we've got some mount synergy going on here. The opener of the game has started. Game 2 between these two sides. Upper bracket finals. Both teams undefeated thus far. So the winner of this goes through to the grand final. Loser goes down to play against Kawaii. This is a nice little grip setup here onto Chanimal. We're going to have to see if they can get any healers in line of sight. It doesn't look like they're running the spites, since Chanimal did not get spited there. He surely would have. He's also not running the coil, it looks like. I don't see coil on the UI, so I'm assuming that means that he is playing the portal, anticipating the spites. So in that regard, Method Orange have won this mind game. They're not going to have to worry about the mortal coils in this one. And that means that the Warlock may well just be a great target, You've got the Dark Sim on Nez, so Wealthy Man's going to have to think twice about every Greater Pyroblast. Maybe tunneling Chanimal is the play.
I mean, it definitely could be. Trill playing Tiger Eye Brew, so that kind of gives away the targeting that they want. But Sidu, Greater Pyroblast on him, going to snipe him through the pillar. Big damage early on, and like you said, Chanimal, he's using the portal. They're actually using Ring of Pieces to pin him behind the pillar, but unfortunately for Mez and Trill, Chanimal has his portal in a great spot, is able to use that Demonic Circle to get to safety. Now Seduce over onto Sidu. Who are they going to be going after? And here's the thing, if you leave Wealthy Man alone, these Greater Pyroblasts are going to get really scary really quick. Trill takes a huge hit of damage. Polymorph now on Sidu. Trill forced to use the Touch of Karma. It's actually overlapped with the Vitality Conduit there, but not the biggest deal. It can get quite scary when those Greater Pyroblasts do go off, but a big stun set up here from Method Orange as they're looking to get really aggressive.
Yeah, that was really nice. They got good damage onto Cubsy. They forced the Trinket port from Chanimal as well. And I mean, in the early stages of this game, definitely a little bit scary with Wealthy Man spamming out the G-Pies, but I would say that Method Orange are definitely in a fighting mode for this game right now. The counterspell comes through, double stun, but it seems like Chanimal is someone that I could see dying, but maybe not until a little bit more dampening, which makes me wonder if Trill and Mez, maybe they can afford to play a little bit more passively, like there's no Mortal Coil, which is one of the big punishes if you go behind the pillar. But he doesn't go behind the pillar, he gets blown up, and Cloud9 2-0.
Oh man!
What happened?
We were just talking.
I'm watching YouTube. I want to see that YouTube replay.
Wow! Yeah, we were just talking about how we thought it was going to take dampening for all of these games. This one definitely didn't, Seiko.
Greatest Pyroblast.
Zico, you're muted.
Oh, no.
Which I
No.
I actually, you know, with how fast that game was to get back into the call in the first place, I am not surprised that you were muted at all.
Thank
they
you,
were
Rich.
completely silenced as well. Let's actually start to talk about just how a match can end that quickly.
Well, Wealthy Man got a pretty nice Greater Pyroblast off onto Trill, who had no cooldowns. And then Trill got Infernal stunned, and Wealthy Man actually had another Greater Pyroblast in the air, but something did half of Trill's HP. Now, I want to say that was a Chaos Bolt, but I can't comment on it.
I'll tell you exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was actually not a Chaos Bolt.
He blinked forward, right, with the second.
Yeah, so what he did is he casted Greater Power Blast from range, and of course
99%.
Yeah, exactly. So Greater Power Blast, it has a long travel time. So what you can do is cast a Greater Power Blast while it's in the air, cast another one, and then right before it goes off, shimmer right on top, and then they both hit at the same time, and it can be a lot of damage. And that's exactly what we just saw happen to Trill. Unfortunately, it caught them off guard, and that's going to be a quick win for Cloud9.
Well, mages, have fun doing that until Shadowlands comes out, because you're losing, you're getting a cooldown on your G5s, and you're losing some of the shimmering. So, yeah, enjoy it for now.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy it for now.
But, I mean, at least Zico has kind of spoiled the fact that mages are getting blanket counter spell back, right? So.
Wait, what? Are we?
Yeah, because you're always silenced.
Bro, it's 3 a.m., man. I'm sorry, okay? That one went right above my head, and, you know, as you might see, not a lot of things go right above my head. That's about it.
All right, so how does this affect the rest of the series? What do you expect Method Orange to do now besides tilt, to be completely... I mean, you go into a matchup like that, I don't see, Zico, how you do anything besides tilt a little bit.
Well, that's one option. The other option is to, you know, go again, lock in small map, and try what you did again, but, you know, don't die.
This time we're going to be on Dollar and Sewers here. We're waiting for those compositions, and yeah, the best answer to this one is just do it. We'll see Cloud9 locking in the Warlock Mage yet again. It's on Method Orange to pick something which will have the durability to get them a little bit further into this series, because if not, they're getting sent down to the lower bracket.
I mean, I was just going to say, I mean, for Method Orange, they put in a lot of work to learn these different comps, and it seems like normally they can figure out an answer, but it really feels like it's been years where Cloud9 has just had their number with Mage Warlock. Like, literally, they have not been able to figure it out for, it seems like years at this point. So, definitely got to be frustrating for Method Orange, because it just seems like no matter what they try, they always lose.
I was going to say one thing that's amusing to me is, like, I remember that legendary series at BlizzCon, and then Snuts came in Game 5 and they won, and Rich, like, screamed, like, don't you ever put Snuts on the bench again. And then we're just watching them wipe the floor. Meanwhile, Snuts is off in the distance farming echoes on his Windwalker monk or something. So he's just chilling. He's the real victor.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Nuts and Roasties, man. It's been their day today.
Yeah, they've been doing great.
You gotta get the...
Maybe
they're probably farming together into, like, yo, you wanna do a few games?
Yeah, they'll probably hit me up soon to help get their rating in the right spot, and they can I've been queuing more queues than ever before. Everybody came out of the woodwork. Hey, you want a queue? I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, you're still 500, right?
It's actually really crazy, though. I swear Snuts puts in so much work on this team. I mean, he doesn't always play, but the amount of work he puts in, and not only just practicing all the different classes, but also helping his team gear out. Like, he'll get Cubsy, he gets them all into raids and helps them clear visions and forces them to do world quests. Like, and I think he's been buying them BOEs as well. Back when you couldn't pick the corruption you wanted,
farming the gold for them Snuts money.
Yeah, he's literally the person who's going around buying all the BOEs in the world for his team to, you know, get that gear edge. It's really crazy, because I swear he puts in so much effort.
Seeing how much of it, like, if you're not familiar with his stream or anything like that, I mean, dude's just a power gamer, right? Like, he PvE's hard too. And when Classic came out, dude was absolute madman there. really understands the economy in the game too. Definitely a valuable player to have on your team. And I mean, there's countless stories too. And Ben Rookie, you've told some of them just about what it was always like when you guys, even back in the day, were competing, and how impactful he's been in the scene as a player. But Method Orange are going to feel the pressure here and go back to Warrior Mage. Zika, what do you think about going back to this composition on Dalaran Sewers?
I feel like this is a comp that, I mean, if both teams play it perfectly, I feel like they have a slight upper advantage, especially on a map like Dalaran. So I'm a big fan of the comp. I'm just a little skeptical. I hope that, you know, they're going to change things up compared to game number 1 with that targeting. If they change it, I could definitely see Method Orange still stand a shot here, because I feel like this is a comp that can do kind of okay into Rogue Mage and into Mage Lock. So unfortunately, it's kind of an alt comp, right? So they're just going to have to step up to the plate and really make it count here.
And with that, let's see if they're going to be able to make it count. If they cannot, Cloud9 is going to be able to get their ticket straight in to the grand final. Let's see if they're going to be able to do it, or if Method Orange will be able to extend this series.
All right, so I think the true path to success here for Method Orange is they need to do exactly what they did in game number 1. Sit on Wealthy Man, get out their consistent crowd control, try to take him down early on as the main target, but later on in the game, go after Chanimal. I mean, he is not going to be able to escape nearly as easy as Wealthy Man. All those setups, they're going to be able to dump damage on Chanimal and really try to take him down. I think if Method Orange does that, they could potentially win, but we'll see. I mean, Wealthy Man has been doing a really good job defensively the entire weekend. I don't think anyone's really been able to take him down. We'll have to see if Method Orange can sort of break that.
Yeah, that Cubsy Wealthy Man duo, it previews like a lot of this kind of core from Cloud9. You can see Greater Pyros, always going to be a little bit of a scare for everyone. Big health chunks coming in on either side as mages are free casting. We see Wealthy Man just tunneling out those pies. Personally, I think Wealthy Man is still my preferred target for the majority of this game. I think you called it right then during game 1 that when dampening started to hit, that's when Chanimal could really die. But we do see a ton of damage coming out onto him.
Now.
They're just crushing him. The Unending Resolve comes through. Now the Life Cocoon. That was a huge play, but it's so risky leaving Wealthy Man open for such long periods of time. I'm scared something similar to what happened to Trill in the last game is going to happen if they continue the strategy.
Yeah. I feel like this is a good time to go for the Fire Mage right now. You had a couple of close calls already, but at the same time, they did force out the Unending Resolve. I just don't see Chanimal dying at this point in the game. I feel like Cubsy should be able to keep him alive if need be, but let's see. They're going for the CC here. Preemptive Warbanner by Maz, and preemptive Essence there coming out of Cubsy. Unfortunately for Method Orange is going to keep Chanimal nice and healthy. And yeah, I agree with you guys. Go for the Mage majority of the time, but when dampening is in the game, I want to see them go for Chanimal. Whenever Mez really has his disruption, he can stay in. When he doesn't, leap behind one of those boxes, wait for it to come back up, and then go back in.
I just don't think they're going to take down Chanimal unless they have the instant crowd control, unless they have the intimidating shout, they have the leg sweep, they have the paralyze. That's when you go after Chanimal. Until then, sit on Wealthy Man. He's the highest threat target possible, except during this moment where Dark Soul is available, and Chanimal is getting off big damage right now. Mez forced to come back and try to slow that down as Sidu is in crowd control. Chanimal taking a little bit of burst damage right now. Samayam looking for crowd control, unable to find it, but Sidu, he pushes in. There it is. Paralyzed into the Song of Chi-Ji. Cubsy has to trinket. Doesn't have Cocoon. Graves up the Vitality Conduit, but these consistent setups from Method Orange, this game is looking really good. This could be the game. Keep them in this series.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking fantastic. Full blink counterspell. Beautiful play by Samayam. Is it going to be enough to get the security? I'm not entirely sure. Wealthy Man caught up in polymorphs right now, but he will be able to free cast those peels since counterspell was used onto Cubsy. So nicely done to recover. But this is looking night and day compared to game 1. Game 1 was super slow pace from Method Orange, barely making any dents, I think, on Wealthy Man. One Cauterize, I think, was all they forced for the first 10 minutes or so. This game, they have so much pressure. It's looking much better for them. I just think they need to be careful still. Hit Wealthy Man, make sure that not too many G-Pies go off, because if one of those two swaps happened at 30% dampening, that would be game in favor of Method Orange.
Yeah, so the reason why Method Orange even have kill pressure right now is because of the fact that they're all staying Gushing Wound, full counterspell secured, and that is going to be a dead Chanimal. So the biggest takeaway here is that entirety of Method Orange stopped stacking Versa and all went full Gushing Wounds.
Ooh, including Sea-Doo?
Well, I don't know about Sea-Doo, but both DPS did.
I would love that.
I would be surprised if I saw Sea-Doo do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he's not
because
too bad.
it's not like Infinite Stars where it procs on healing.
Yeah,
you know?
this is like...
I love it when damage wins.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is like right after, I kind of had like that dark moment where I was like, versatility is even more valuable than it was at the beginning of this tournament. Like, nobody's going to be rocking the Gushing Wounds. And finally, we do see it pay dividends. It has a few times in this tournament. And truth be told, I think it's kind of one of those things where it is interesting to think about how long they really are going to have Gushing Wounds as well, because we do know that nerf is going to come, the 35% nerf to the Gushing Wounds. So I kind of want to see it in this tournament as much as possible, then.
I mean, yeah. The thing is, I just think Method Orange has realized their win condition isn't bringing it late game. It's doing the consistent setups and having as much damage as they can cram into those windows. The versatility, I think, overall is going to help the Mage Lock a lot more. So you need to just sacrifice that defense, go full offense, and they had a ton of pressure on Chanimal during that game. Really, really impressive performance, honestly, from Method Orange in that one. Cloud9, I'm curious, do you think a big map is going to be enough to keep them alive through that pressure? I mean, maybe they go to... Tolvaron Arena is going to be a really, really good map for them, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that really is going to be the question now. Zico, do you think map will be enough?
I think winning on Tolvaron is... I would say I would give it in Cloud9's favor at that point, but at the same time, I like what Method Orange are doing here. They're going for the right targets. They had clean setups. They're going full offense, and honestly, I feel like there wasn't that much Cloud9 could do. In addition, I feel like when you have, like Ven mentioned, you're on the timer and they're not, you kind of have to take some risks. And Method Orange actually did lose to Rudimentary, right? 0-2, but then they were able to bring that series back and win 3-2 in a reverse sweep. And that's what actually put them in the situation where they're fighting against Cloud9. Now they were down 0-2. They picked up one game. So, maybe we can see it again.
It's actually...
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, Ven, go ahead.
I think it was only Sam who was running Gushing. Mez was still
I think
running
Mez has
mostly
a couple,
versatility.
right? Yeah.
Nah, Mez was running...
He just
He
won.
has at least two. I think I saw two.
I for sure saw Gushing on...
It's one Gusher.
Yeah. No, it's only one.
Is that updated?
Yeah,
Does
think
it
so.
update after the game?
it doesn't go away.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I was still surprised, even with the Gushing swap on just Sam. I'm surprised how much pressure they had in that game. I think it's more than just a gear change. Like, every single counterspell that Sam IM looked for in this game, it seemed like it was on Cubsy, which is something that, as a healer player, you're so relaxed when the enemy mage or warlock is just dumping all his CSs into your DPS partners, because it means you're just relaxingly healing. It's nice and efficient. When counterspells start getting thrown into the mix, especially if you've got someone that's actually good at landing their counterspells, it's really, really... it makes the game 10 times more stressful as healer. So the fact he's starting doing that, I think as warrior mage is perfect. And then you talked about it during the game as well, and the fact that Sea-Doo's just kind of charging in, throwing a little bit of recklessness out there. You've got to do it to win this matchup, it seems like, to get those crowd controls off DR. I think it's a combination of those two factors as well. And with the target choice of Chanimal, I'm still surprised how easily they killed him, though. They made him look really squishy, which really doesn't happen for Desperate Warlocks very often.
Yeah, there are like 3 people in chat right now typing, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. They need to buff Warlocks." Like, oh man, really? Oh gosh. But in all seriousness, when you do watch a matchup like this, I mean, Zico already mentioned the words reverse sweep, which seems so crazy after the first 2 games. Then Ricky, do you actually think it's possible to see a reverse reverse sweep after just getting a little taste of the gushy boys?
I don't know. So this is what's interesting to me is, let's say we go to Tolvaron Arena. Have we picked the map yet?
Tolvaron Arena
It is
is the
gonna be
map,
Tolvaron, yeah.
and we do have Method Orange with the Warrior and the Mage again.
Okay, I would be absolutely blown away if Cloud9 does not play Mage Lock. They're going to play Mage Lock on Tolvaron 100%, but if they lose that game and it looks similar, I could actually see a world where Cloud9 tries to go for a mirror match against Method Orange potentially, or at least switch up their composition a little bit, because, I mean, obviously, it's nuts. He's been playing kind of all the melee roles, including Warrior. You have Wealthy Man on the Fire Mage and Cubsy on the Mistweaver Monk, so it could come down to a Warrior Mage.
Fun.
Yeah, it could come down to a Warrior Mage mirror, potentially. But I think that's only if we see this game, you know, it be as big a blowout as we saw in Dalaran Sewers.
We are waiting to see Cloud9 lock in their composition, but I think Fenruki is definitely right. I think we know what we're most likely going to walk into here. But just how crazy. I feel like it's not very often that you see two games like that, healing stat, and then it's like, yeah, reverse sweep is possible. Like, it just feels like such a crazy series already.
Yeah, I'm taking a little look over at Chanimal's build as well. He's actually playing a really high haste. Like, he's running no versatility amps. He's running a few mastery ones, which does bolster your defense a bit, and then he's running some haste amps as well. So I think we've got to be careful willing on this reverse sweep, because Cloud9, you know, they're still very, very formidable on the Mage Warlock, and there's bound to be adaptations they can make too, right? But you're right, Rich. I mean, we've seen such a crazy series here. Like, game one, the Mage Lock takes us to what? Almost dampening record levels. And then they lock in their main composition. You're like, well, this is going to be a safe game. They might lose it. And they die in 1 minute.
Yeah.
And then game three, it turns on its head again. So Cloud9, you know, if they can lose on Tolvair with all the adaptations, I'm sure they're going to make, you know, more mastery or versatility, maybe portal, whatever it is for Chanimal. Then Method Orange are favorites, right? Plain and simple.
Well, this is just one of those series where you can talk about it until you're blue in the face, but really all there is to do is see what on earth is going to happen. We have seen these teams go to the brinks of dampening. 72% dampening, and we have seen it done in the blink of an eye. What is this game going to have in store for us? Cloud9 is currently on match point, but Method Orange is trying to extend the series with another blowout game like we saw in the last one. Let's see how they fare on Tolvaron.
I really like the adaptation for Method Orange. I mean, as soon as the gates open up, I'm going to be looking at the gear add-on to see what exactly Samayam is running. Is he going with the Gushing Wounds once again? I think it's really likely at this point. What does Method Orange really have to lose? They need to try to win with all-out pressure, all-out aggression. Cloud9 cannot be allowed to bring the game for too long. For Cloud9, they have to hold on. They just need to survive as long as they can. Potentially even just look for those one-shots. I mean, we saw Wealthy Man absolutely explode Trill earlier on in this series, and he's going to be looking to do that once again in this match.
Yeah, let's see if he can do it. This is going to be a big game, obviously. If Cloud9 wins this, I think I'm very curious. I'm looking at Channel. He's still running the Mortal Core. He's probably going to be running a little bit more defense, but we'll take a look at that in a second. If Cloud9 wins this, they through to the grand final, and I mean, there's not even a guarantee that Method Orange would make it back into their grand final, because Kawaii just looks so good down in that lower bracket. So Method Orange, a lot to play for here. Big opener though, massive damage coming in onto Wealthy Man. That is going to be the Trinket and the Life Cooking coming in from Cubsy. So a huge win there once again for Method Orange.
Honestly, if Method Orange set it up perfectly, they could try to 100-0 Cubsy. They could paralyze him or intimidating shout on him and then set up out of that. It could be a little tricky. I think Sam needs to get his combust back. That's going to happen, but there is kill windows here. They're going to fear Cubsy. They're going to go after Wealthy Man here instead. No, a Ring of Frost is going to secure. He gets a full sheep here, though. Wealthy Man still in a lot of trouble here. Samayam getting polyed. Wealthy Man breaking up the chain, counter pressuring here with his own combust right there. Another sheep secured onto Cubsy, counterspell onto Chan, but I think Cubsy should be able to stabilize Wealthy Man in that situation. I still think there's a pretty good opening here onto Cubsy if they can find it.
Let's see. Mez is getting low. It's a bit of a scary situation. Sidu's caught into a fearful leg sweep on Mez. Is it over? Is the damage there? Mez might just fall very early on. Sidu gets out. He gets a small. Actually doesn't get out of the crowd control. Mez keeps himself alive. Die by the sword. Uses everything he can. The rallying cry. It's going to inevitably fall. Sidu has to get there. He connects the life cocoon. What a horrifying moment for Method Orange. But they managed to hold on for dear life. Mez with that rallying cry, with the die by the sword, all his defensive cooldowns in order to stay alive. And Cloud9 can't believe what just happened, but what a close call.
Yeah, I kind of can't believe how close that was as well. It kind of came out of nowhere, just endless crowd control coming in for the side of Cloud9, and now it's being reversed, full counter spell over onto Cubsy. This is the thing, it's a very much risk reward if you're using all your counter spells on the healer like this. Obviously there's a lot of offensive benefit to it, but you do expose Sidu to a ton of crowd control in reverse, so they've got to be careful with it. Once again, Sidu able to connect his full crowd control chain over onto Cubsy. Doesn't look like they quite have enough damage onto Wealthy Man here, but one thing that's very interesting to me is I wasn't sure exactly how Channel was going to change up his build based on this game. I've taken a look now using the little the add-on that we have for it, and he's not even going Mastery, he's going full versatility, so he's going to lose a lot of that offensive prowess that we know Channel for, which could be a big deal.
Yeah, and I like that Method Orange kind of anticipating that Channel is going to do that, and now they're going after Wealthy Man instead, and they just netted themselves the Cauterize here, so the next time they get a CC chain, they could potentially force out the Ice Block of Wealthy Man, because Cubsy did use his Trinket there to try to hold that Ice Block cooldown, so let's see if they can get something done here right now. Though Cloud9 on the aggressive, doing a lot of damage here over onto Mez. Vitality Conduit is going to come out. Sidu is out of CC, going for a Song of Chi-Ji. Not able to land that one. Instead, he's going to go ahead and just top his teammates. And there it is, full sheep. Wealthy Man in massive trouble here, Ben.
Oh, he absolutely is. The polymorph on Cubsy. This could easily be the ice block. Wealthy Man just greeting it. He's so far away right now. There's no damage to follow it up. Nicely done by Wealthy Man, playing impatient. But now Sam, they're reversing the pressure on him. He still has his Cauterize, though. Sidu in the polymorph. Sam I am taking a little bit of damage, but he's behind the pillar. Keep in mind, with no versatility, he's going to be really susceptible to that burst if Wealthy Man and Chanimal can find it. And I just don't know. Do we like the fact that they're going after Wealthy Man? It seemed like in the last game, going after Chanimal was just so good for their overall consistent damage and pressure. And now that they're going after Wealthy Man, I mean, they're not getting too much. They did get the Cauterize, but that could have just been a kill on Chanimal instead of Wealthy Man being able to just shimmer away.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I like hitting Wealthy Man in between. I think that's fine, but I think the big crowd control setups should still be on Chanimal. I completely agree with you, Ven. I mean, they just won with it. Yeah, versatility is going to make a difference for sure, but not enough that you should change your strategy after already losing game one, I think. Also noteworthy that not only is Sam I am running the low versatility build, he actually ice blocked to save Mez in the last exchange as well. So now he's really vulnerable. We can see those G-Pies coming through. Big damage onto Sam. He's going to have to play way more defensively now, which is just another blockade for Method Orange, who need to be aggressive in this matchup to actually win.
Yeah, and I think right now with how Chan is positioned, I feel like they should be going after him. Especially now when they're going for these CC chains. Cubsy getting across the map here, and that's going to force Sidu to play out in the open, and that's going to force Sidu to get caught in the polymorph, but Cubsy as well. Wealthy Man is kiting Mez right now, going for a re-poly. He's going to be able to secure it. Sidu gets re-feared, and now both monks are out of crowd control. Sidu going for the leg sweep onto Cubsy, and he does have that Vitality Conduit active, so everybody should be fine on the map. Cubsy now trinketing into a DR Sheep here. Wealthy Man taking a lot of damage. There's no Life Cocoon available, but Vitality Conduit once again doing some work here for C9. I think especially when Chan is this close to the pillar, you definitely target him more.
I think so too. At this point, they should just play close as a wizard. I mean, Sam I am and Sidu are having to compromise their positioning quite a bit. Chanimal just really getting in the face of Sidu, getting those fears, actually landing a Chaos Bolt. And Mez is quite overextended at this point in the game. I think going after Chanimal could be an option, but it seems like they're committed right now to going after Wealthy Man, slowing down the G-Pies. Dark Soul from Chanimal, though. This is where Method Orange, they really have to be careful. Anytime Dark Soul is available, Chanimal is going to be able to put out massive damage. He's in position. Nice reflect there by Mez, keeping himself nice and healthy and alive, reflecting that Chaos Bolt. You can see this Ring of Peace, keeping Sam I am a little bit in the open. Nicely done there by Cubsy, trying to help out Chanimal, but unfortunately they just couldn't really find the damage. I think it's smart. I mean, Method Orange, they really can't mess around with that Dark Soul. Now getting aggressive, doing big burst onto Wealthy Man, but the Life Cocoon from Cubsy is more than enough to keep him alive.
Yeah, it was a nice little play by Cubsy there. He got the triple leg sweep, and then he got the triple ring of peace, knocking the entire team into the wall for about 5 seconds. So really punishing them for not social distancing there. Nice plays coming in from the Cloud9 healer, but he's now the one caught up in crowd control. Bit scared for Wealthy Man here. He doesn't have that cheat death proc. And there's no... there's a vitality conduit. Okay, he's going to be fine. I was a bit concerned since there wasn't the life cocoon. Looks like Cubsy able to get out of crowd control and keep him up. We're at dampening now, 13%. Mana still good for both sides. Wealthy Man forced into the ice block. Nice place from Method Orange. Though I still think Chanimal could be a great target now that dampening's starting to really build up. Wealthy Man can't play so aggressive about that ice block. It could be a great opportunity for Method Orange, but they're certainly still looking very competitive in this game.
Yeah, let's see. Fear attempt onto Cubsy. Can they net something to get the DR leg sweep? Sidu going for the Song of GG, gets sniped with a polymorph though. Wealthy Man shutting down the aggression right there, stopping the CC chain. Should allow him to recover here. Mez now taking a fat bolt to the face. Let's see, another bolt here from Chanimal. Combustion gets activated. Sidu in a polymorph. Full fear secured. Mez, how are you going to survive here? Mortal Coil comes through. And Method Orange are going to go down to the lower bracket to fight Kawaii.
They are indeed, and ultimately we did see that one last stand in the previous game. They were able to hang on, and the Gushing Wounds were able to steal a win, but it's just not going to